From the WeatherWatcher studio, here's a special weather forecast.
Good evening, Rutgers. I'm WeatherWatcher Derek Diehl, and I'm presenting to you an emergency weather broadcast concerning the blizzard that will impact New Jersey tomorrow and Monday. Blizzard conditions are expected tomorrow and will extend into Monday morning. Coastal flooding is a big concern as well, and then hazardous wind gusts will cause it to be very cold wind chills and power outage potential. This storm will undergo a special process called bombogenesis, and that is the decrease of pressure of over 24 millibars in 24 hours. And this is the threshold that you ideally need for the most intense storm, just historically speaking. High tide is 11 p.m. on Sunday, and that will coincide with the arrival of the most intense winds. So we have major flooding risks along the coast. 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts are expected in New Jersey, as well as over 1 foot of snow. And then in some locations, we can expect higher values than these. Parts of New Jersey, according to the reputable NAM model, could get 2.5, potentially even 3 feet of snow. Looking at the watches and warnings, we do see that pretty much all of New Jersey, outside of a few not-so-populated counties, is under a blizzard warning. Blizzard warning also extends up into New York City, as well as Long Island, Westchester, Rockland County, and in much of Connecticut. The winter storm warning extends all the way into the Harrisburg metro and the Baltimore metro area. Rutgers has announced that classes will be virtual on Monday, and the dining halls will remain open, but the libraries will be closed. So please factor that into your consideration when you're planning your Monday. The National Weather Service has also put out coastal flood warnings for really any county on the eastern seaboard that's touching the Atlantic Ocean, and that includes the Raritan Bay around Perth Amboy here in Middlesex County. Long Island and southern Connecticut is also at risk. Big picture, we have our low pressure coming up here. You see it really begins to rotate in on itself. Really looks like a hurricane. Although it's not a hurricane, it's not tropical, because of course it's giving us snow. But that just kind of shows you how powerful this low pressure is expected to be. Focusing on New Jersey, it all begins around 3 a.m. That's when the first flakes will begin to fly in northwestern New Jersey. And then the entire state will be having precipitation of some kind at 7:30. We see that snow rain line shifts south starting around 11:30. And then the whole state will be in snow around 3 o'clock. Fast forwarding to around 9:30, we see those really rich convective bands that will be overspreading New Jersey. This will be the time of the heaviest snowfall rate, with snowfall rates of likely 2 inches per hour possible. And then that will continue throughout the night. By Monday morning, when you're waking up, it will still be snowing, but likely not as intense as when the banding is ongoing. Governor Mikey Sherrill has put out a state of emergency that will officially begin at noon on Sunday, so it'd be best to be all cozy up in your safe place at that point. The high tomorrow will be 36. Usually that would suggest that the snow won't accumulate, but the snow will be coming so fast that it literally will not have time to melt before the snowflakes go on top of it, and the accumulation will begin, even if it's above freezing. We see, looking at it hour by hour, we see the winds picking up, exceeding 14 and 15 miles per hour around 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. As we saw in the Futurecast map, the rain-snow line was to our north. However, out of an abundance of caution, I have put the rain-snow mix symbol in for 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. because any shuttle shift in the track of this system could shift that rain-snow line a bit further south than expected. So 7 a.m., 9 a.m., we are seeing rain-snow mix. 11 a.m., we're of a higher chance of snow. And then by 1 p.m., it is almost a guarantee that there will be heavy snow falling on New Brunswick. Looking at the wind gusts, we see pretty light winds to start out with, and then we see a surge of wind gusts around 1 p.m. tomorrow. And then we really begin to see things get serious around 9 p.m. Now remember, high tide was 11 p.m. So the heaviest winds are coinciding with the high tide, and that is the reason why coastal flooding is such a concern. Winds really reach their maximum around 2 a.m. We see really all of Connecticut, all of Long Island, the Hudson Valley, and all of New Jersey, Delaware is going to be at risk for 40-mile-an-hour plus wind gusts. As we get into Monday morning, it starts to die out as the low pressure moves further away, and now it continues to die out throughout the day. With any storm like this, you're going to have some low wind chills. So Sunday afternoon, we will have high wind chills in the mid to high 20s. Here in Heat Island makes it so New York City's at 30 degrees. But then it gets to drop. Around dinner time, we're in the low 20s. And then by the time it's midnight, we have teens. And that'll only get colder as the night goes on. Monday afternoon, it'll warm up a little bit as the sun comes up. But then we got some cold air behind this system that will begin to assert itself Monday evening. With any storm with wind and snow like this, we're going to have power outages. As we can see, we have this corridor here along the barrier islands along the Jersey Shore that are at an extreme risk for power outages. Most of the state is under a major risk for power outages, whereas we have Sussex County and Warren County that might escape the worst of the power outages. Now, power outages, you may or may not lose power depending on your provider or the conditions in your local area. So just be prepared for anything. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. And here is the big product that everyone wants to see, the snowfall forecast. So this is a composite of the major models, such as the NAM, the HER, the GFS, the Euro. This also factors inputs from the National Weather Service and local meteorologists such as Joe Martucci and Ginger Z. So this is a composite of that, looking at the model trends and all that. We see that the epicenter of this is going to be along the northern part of the Jersey Shore, where 16 to 24 inches is expected. And as I mentioned before, 30 inches is a very reasonable estimate for snow in that area. It could happen. You bisect central Jersey, and that'll put you on either the 12 to 20 inch range or the 8 to 16 inch range. But either way, it's a lot of snow, potentially historic. This could be, for South Jersey, a decade-defining storm, and I don't say that lightly, but that's how it could shape up to be. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube. Our very own Mason Adeo will be on at around 1 p.m., maybe a bit later than that tomorrow, and he's going to be doing a field forecast. You won't want to miss it. So follow us on these platforms. Have a good night, Rutgers. Stay safe.